This means top-ranked Clemson will be without their quarterback this weekend against Boston College, as he must now quarantine for 10 days per the ACC's medical advisory group. His status for next weekend's game versus number 4 Notre Dame, TBD. Meanwhile, the first college football playoff rankings will be released on November 17th, and according to Heather Dinich, the selection committee will consider availability of all players. Now, Trevor posted this on social media following his diagnosis, saying, quote, "I have tested positive for COVID-19 and my symptoms have been relatively mild while I'm following the protocol from Clemson in the ACC. The only thing that hurts is missing an opportunity to be with my teammates this weekend and play the game I love. I hate that I can't be there, but I will be watching from isolation and pulling for our guys while I wait for the opportunity to rejoin the team. God bless and go Tigers." All right, good friend Tim Teebow joining us now. Tim, hope you're doing well. Question, how do you react initially to this diagnosis of Trevor Lawrence having COVID-19?
Well, I think it's huge for so many reasons. One, because he's one of the best players, best people in college football. So you feel bad for him that he's missing a game he's worked so hard for, and also probably being the last year of his college career at Clemson. But I think if you look at as a whole for Clemson, I think they can get by Boston College. And I even think next week in their biggest game of the year, even without Trevor, if he can't get back and play, they still have a good chance to win because their backup DJ, and I won't even try to pronounce his last name, he's a five-star freak that's a baller, and already this year he's shown a lot of poise. And you got to remember, their defense is lights out getting to the quarterback with Brent Venables. So if there was a time where Trevor could not be there for his team, I think this could be a time, because I also think the playoff committee will look at it and say it's one of the best players, if not the best player, in the biggest game. He's not there, so Clemson could also get slack if Notre Dame was able to upset without Trevor.
What the hell does it say about Notre Dame if you're saying that they can be beat by Clemson with the backup quarterback?
Stephen A., I think most people would get beat by Clemson with the backup quarterback. I think there's only a handful of teams that would have a chance to beat Clemson with their backup.
I mean, Tua was the backup in Bama. Sometimes the backup of these programs is better than the starter.
Well, we certainly ain't going to say that when it comes to him against Trevor Lawrence, are we? We going to say that now?
Well, let me ask you about the Heisman race. How does this affect things, Tim?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you look at Justin Fields and his performance last week, just absolutely balling in every part of the game, throwing, running, leadership, toughness, everything, he's going to play less games. Unless Trevor doesn't play, we know he's not going to play this week. If he doesn't play another week, I think it gives Justin a little bit more of a chance to catch up in stats. Not necessarily in performance. I think Justin has shown he's going to perform, but I think all the voters at the end of the year, it's just easy to kind of go to default mode to say, oh, Trevor has 40 touchdowns, Justin Fields has 30, and they don't necessarily take the amount of games into play. But I think this does give Justin a little bit more of a chance to kind of get into that race with some of the other guys. Mac Jones from Alabama, who's been putting up crazy stats. So I think this gives him just a little bit more of opportunity. But I want Trevor to get back and to be able to play. He's too good of a player. He's too good of a kid. And, I want to see him make the most of this opportunity.
Tim, give us a perspective on how serious we should take this college football season in light of all the hiccups that have taken place. Season starting late, games being pushed back into December, COVID-19, positive tests, et cetera, et cetera. Some people say good. It's good for us. It's good for the entertainment aspect, good for these guys that have aspirations to go pro, et cetera, to get out on the field and go out there and perform. But how serious should we take the competition aspect of all of this, considering so many obstacles that have been thrown in these guys' direction?
Well, there has been a lot of obstacles. There has been a lot of change, but I'm going to take it extremely serious because I know how much it means to every single one of these kids. And so I'm going to evaluate it with everything I have to support every one of them, because you know what? There has been a lot of challenges, but I have seen hundreds and hundreds of college kids that have adapted, that have grown, that have learned, that have changed, that have figured out right ways to be able to do things, and that are trying to be their brother's keeper and support one another. And yes, we have had some setbacks with some positive cases, but man, I've been able to talk to teams and see teams that are doing everything they can, and these kids are doing so much. So many of them are doing the right things to be able to live out their dreams. So you know what? I'm going to take it extremely serious, and yes, there's going to be some setbacks, but you know what? These kids they've earned it, and they've worked so extremely hard, and so for their sake, I'm going to take it extremely seriously.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Tim. I think this is a big deal for all of the players out there on the field this season. But we thank you so much for your time. We fortunately have to get to the next segment, but always appreciate you.
Sounds good. Nice turtleneck, Stephen A.
I know.